Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's May 23rd, 2022, and for those of you like me who are in Canada, happy Victoria Day. Today's a statutory holiday, so I have the day off, and so it was a perfect day to get in and work on a video for you guys and to put something out. I got this topic from Kimberly in Pennsylvania in the United States, and so I've been able to do a little research over the last little while to try to put enough information together to be informative, I hope. So we're going to do that today. And I also went to the post office on Friday last, and a new stamp was issued, so I'm going to show you that. And I've got some other stamps that I picked up there that will be good for post-crossing, so I'm going to show you those as well. And I think the two topics tie well together, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. Thanks everyone for liking, subscribing, and all those comments. I get to them as soon as I can. And if you've got topics like Kimberly did, you can always message me. There are ways to message me in the description of the video, so if you want to go check that out, you can. And if you just want to say hi, you can do that as well. Appreciate that. Or if you want to leave me comments, go to That Dad Guy. And if you want to leave questions, that is. That Dad Guy answers my last video. They come out on Saturdays. You can leave a comment or a question in there. And if it's on the most recent video, I'll answer it next week in the next video to come out. So that's where we're at. Let's get into the topic today. So Kimberly sent me a message and she said, have you heard about counterfeiting stamps? I hadn't. I didn't know it was a problem. So I went and did a little research on it. And in Canada, Canada Post loses more than $10 million a year to counterfeiting stamps. So what we're talking about is stamps that you buy on eBay or Etsy. Here's a bunch of stamps. These are mint stamps that my father had collected. But if you go on to eBay or Etsy or some other places, they talk about selling discounted stamps. Not all of them are real. So if the deal is too good to be true, there's a good chance you're buying fake stamps. And the only way really to tell if they're fake or not is by having a black light, and you can shine it over the stamp. If it glows green with the ink that's in there, it's a real stamp. If it doesn't, you've been had and you've got fake stamps. Now, the flip side of that is Canada Post isn't catching a lot of the stamps. And I'm talking about Canada Post because I'm in Canada in my research, but because this was a topic that brought to me from Pennsylvania. This is happening in the United States. It's happening in Great Britain. It's been happening in a lot of countries, especially since stamps have gone to the self-adhesive stamps. The stamps that have, that used to have to lick or moisten the back of, they are super easy, I guess, to counterfeit. And so the only way to tell is by shining a black light over top of them, and you'll see if they glow green. Now, what I was about to say with Canada Post and them being caught is that a lot of them just aren't being detected as they're going through the system. You're seeing just a stamp. It's not like every envelope or card goes through a black light before it gets sent off to its destination. There was one example of a lady who had sent out thank you cards. She was living in Quebec. She sent out about 20 cards, and one of them got returned with insufficient postage, even though she had enough stamp on it. It came back, so she took it into the post office thinking the post office had tried to swindle her or made a mistake or something, saying, look, the postage is on there. But what they told her is that these stamps are fake, and that's why it came back. So there is no official amount of postage on it because the stamps are fake. But only one of her 20 cards that she sent came back. The others all made it to their destination. So what she had found is she went and she took her the stamps that she had. She went and bought a booklet of stamps from a convenience store close to her. And what that convenience store was doing was selling the stamps discounted rate, but they weren't real. So there was a heist of stamps that went in, and the police discovered and had a raid, and I think it was like $2.6 million worth of stamps, the counterfeit stamps that they recovered, and that was just in one area. So Canada Post is saying about $10 million a year they're losing in fake stamps that are out there. So I don't know if you guys knew this and it was going on, but I had no idea. And I had most recently, I've been looking to see what other options there are for trying to make post-crossing a little cheaper. And yeah, I have noticed that if you go on to eBay or some other sites, that people are saying, oh yeah, discounted rate, we can send you $100 worth of face value stamps and you only have to pay $60 for it. And I thought, well, that's good. They're probably a bunch, most of them look like they're a bunch of older stamps, like these ones that you might find. And you know, maybe somebody went into a stamp shop and had a whole bunch of older ones or old collections that people had, and they were just selling them off, because some stamps just aren't valuable. That they mass produce them, so they don't really have a collector's value to them other than their face value. So sometimes people package them up and sell them, but if the discount is too great, it probably means that they're not real. And unfortunately, Kimberly found that out. She bought a bunch of stamps in the States and she took them into the post office after hearing about these things, and they told her what she had were counterfeit. So she felt bad about it because she felt that she was doing fraud, but she unknowingly bought those stamps. And I think the lesson learned, or that if it's too good of a discount, if it's too good of a deal, it's probably not legit. So beware. If you decide to buy them anyways and mail them out, beware too that some of your things may not make it to their destination. And it is fraud. So if you know you're committing a crime and you're doing it anyway, I think you better stop. That's the lesson learned there anyways. So hopefully that's been enlightening for you guys. If you guys want to look into it more, it's easy enough to do. You can Google counterfeit stamps. You could probably Google it for your country as well to see if it's become a problem there. I think when you see stamps that are coming, say, from Germany or from England that now have barcodes on the side of them, that is one of the measures that those postal systems are trying to get in and stop counterfeit, by putting more protective measures in that make it harder to make the stamps illegally that way. Now, that doesn't do anything for older postage that people still mail out, but they are trying to do something to move it forward and not be as big an issue with new stamps that are coming out. All right, speaking of new stamps, let's get into these guys. So these are the Endangered Whales stamps that Canada put out. They came out on the 20th of May, 2022. And so you can get a booklet of 10. This is one way to buy them. You can get first day covers and all sorts of other things, and probably full sheets. But you get this booklet of 10, which means you've got 5 different stamps and they're duplicated. So you have the orca, and actually, let's just do it this way. Hopefully it will be close enough that you can see each one. There we go. So there's always a little blurb about the stamps on the back. Graceful and intelligent whales are magnificent marine mammals. Although more than 30 species are found in Canadian waters, some populations of the 5 featured on these stamps, blue whales, belugas, killer whales, northern bottlenose, and North Atlantic right whales, have been assessed as endangered by the Committee on the Status of Endangered Wildlife in Canada. It is hoped that conservation efforts will enable the recovery of these remarkable species before it's too late. So I thought that was cool. I bought 2 booklets of those, so if you're getting cards from me, you may see them. I know there's a young boy in the Philippines who was kind enough to send me some cards, and he collects animal stamps. So I will send at least one of those stamps off to him. So if you're watching, watch it for the mail. I know it's going to take a while to get a card from Canada all the way to the Philippines. So if you see it now, you'll know you have something to look forward to. Now, speaking of animals, these are little animals. We call them insects. So I bought these sheets. So these are the 1 cent stamps, a sheet of 50. And they make small denomination stamps here in Canada, 1 through 10 cents, and then a 22 cent and a 25 cent stamp. So I went in, I bought one of each that they still had available. Now they didn't have a couple, so I couldn't get the 22 cent stamp. They didn't have that on stock at my post office I'd like to get them stamps from. They didn't have, what was the other one they didn't have? They didn't have the 2 cent, and they didn't have the 8 and 9 cent. So I didn't get those ones this time. Maybe I will in the future. But there are the 1 cent ladybugs. Here are the 3 cents. The 4 cent. It's kind of nice. There's kind of a, if you buy it the whole sheet, there are just kind of some extra things along the outside of it. Tells you that this is called a paper wasp. The last one is a golden-eyed laced wing. Interesting. The next one, number 5, is a northern bumblebee. So we talk about no mow May for the bumblebees. Here's a sheet of stamps for the bumblebees. These might be good for Jilly Bee living her life her way. If you haven't been following her on YouTube, you may want to go check her stuff out. But anytime I see bees, I think of that. And the next one I have is an assassin bug. Oh, don't get too close to this. It's the 6 cent stamp, the assassin bug. The 7 cent stamp is the large milkweed bug. For those of you who like insects, maybe these are great for you, but they're pretty colorful. It's kind of interesting to see the different species that are out there. The 10 cent stamp is Canada Darner. I'm not sure what that is. To me, it looks kind of like a dragonfly. And for those of you who are big bug fans, you may say, that is nothing like a dragonfly. You're out of your mind. And many of you may not like bugs at all and may have turned off this video by now. The last one I have is the 25 cent stamp. It is a moth. Special kind of moth because look at the colors. From a distance like this, it kind of looks like a piece of watermelon or something. So get in close so you can see the colorful moth. So there you go. There are all the smaller denomination stamps. I wanted to get smaller ones so I can take a 92 cent stamp and then match it up with the appropriate amount of postage. Lately, I've been putting more postage on than I need to just because I wanted to put multiple stamps for people to enjoy. It's getting kind of pricey doing that. So I wanted to have the option too now to get some exact postage in. So that is why I bought those. I bought the black light to show you about counterfeiting stamps. And if you have one at home, you may want to try it if you got a dark room to go over and see whether or not your stamps are glowing green or not. If not, don't worry about it. Just be aware of the situation. Be aware that if you're buying postage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And we don't want to encourage criminals and their activity by supporting their effort as postcrossers. So at least I don't think we do. You may have a different opinion on that, and you're right to have your own opinion. This is just me giving you some information on what's out there. It was a topic I didn't know anything about until the last couple of weeks when it was brought to my attention. So that's all I'm doing. I'm passing along the information. Do with it as you will. And for now, that's all I've got. So stay safe. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?